reset the settings, I guess.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Just a heads up, I'm recording already.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't record all that other stuff, but I'm recording now. I like to kind of keep it organic and stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude. I really appreciate you being on here. This is it's exciting for me because I just kind of started this thing, just, something I've been wanting to do for a while, and obviously, I'm a fan of the
Yeah,
music,
dude, I'm
and
digging the shirt, man.
yeah, man, and
yeah.
you're just supporting the cause, and yeah, man, I know you got a lot going on. I'm sure you're doing a lot of writing and stuff, so I'll just kind of kick it off.
Yeah.
I'll just let everyone know, hey, this is John again from the Bumbling Yeti. I got a really special guest today. This dude can sing his face off, and he's going to be someone that everyone's going to hear about very, very soon. So this guy, his name's Jobe Fortner. He comes from, now look, I come from a town as well that's hard to pronounce, so I'm gonna do my best to pronounce this.
Yeah.
Is it Dahlonega?
Dahlonega.
Dahlonega. Okay.
Yeah.
So I come from a town. Its name is West Conshohocken. So it's like,
Oh wow.
yeah, it's terrible. Just
Is
outside of
it
Philly.
Indian? Is it like
Yeah, it actually
town?
is. It
Yeah.
means Pleasant Valley.
Oh wow. That's
yeah,
awesome,
so
man.
pretty interesting. But Jobe is a country singer and songwriter with really deep roots in music. He has a self-titled debut EP that is killer if you get it. It was released in early 2018, and it sparked a different kind of buzz for him. He got attention from a lot of national acts, and led to opening gigs with people like Frankie Ballard, who's a big name, obviously, Riley Green, Toby Keith, which that was probably amazing. Cadillac Three, Whiskey Myers, Cody Johnson, which is where I saw you play twice with them.
That was in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, man. So the first time was actually in Wilmington, Delaware.
Yep.
Then the last time was at the TLA in Philly. And I guess you were also with the Steel Woods, and then most recently with Dwight Yoakam, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And then there's another guy that you toured with and you're pretty good friends with. His name's Luke Combs. So yeah, it sounds like a pretty interesting.
He's a great guy, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We've actually
say enough good things about him.
My kids are huge fans of his, and they got like his Crocs and all that other kind of stuff, which is cool.
That's awesome, man. It's crazy. It's crazy how it's happened the way it's happened with him. He's really gotten to do what he wanted to do. So it's just it's really cool to see him do it.
Yeah, for sure. So what I like to do here, Jobe, is really just talk to people and find out more about them and the journey that took them from, I guess, when you really thought that you could do this, or maybe someone saw something in you. So I try to keep everything like kind of really positive and upbeat, and just kind of let people tell their story. So how'd you get involved in music?
Originally my mother got me involved in music. From a really young age. She was, a single mother. That was the first memories that I have of her that she was a single mother, and she would listen to like Dixie Chicks, and she sang gospel. And so, she sang at the church, and my grandmother sang at the church, and, so many of my family members played instruments and stuff. And, it was just an influence of music. Like I was just around music so much. I didn't necessarily play music at a young age. I didn't really get involved in playing guitar until I was in high school, because I was too hard-headed to like sit down and do it.
Right.
But yeah, I was really influenced by my gospel upbringing of like my mother and my grandmother and them singing in church. And when I got into high school, I picked up a guitar. My stepdad, he had been raising me since I was 4, and he could play some guitar, play some Led Zeppelin, and
nice.
I listened to tons of rock and roll with him. Like my dad and my stepdad influenced me to rock and roll, like big time. Like Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin from like very young age, Metallica, Black Sabbath, just great stuff, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, and then, coming up through the early 2000s, I was listening to like Fuel and Papa Roach and all these kinds of bands. So I have that influence of like rock and roll.
Okay.
And this new music that we're putting out is definitely going to show that. But anyways, I mean, you know, I started playing guitar in high school, and
Was
I
that
hadn't,
was that like for all the chicks that wanted to see the dude playing the guitar?
well, it was, you know, my younger brother was playing guitar, and he was
Okay.
getting really good. His name's Lance Peace, and he still
Okay.
plays. You should check him
Okay.
out. Yeah. But he still plays guitar better than me. And so he was playing, and I was getting a little jealous, and I was like, all right, fine, Dad. You know, like, I'll learn how to play some chords. And
Right.
I'll play them over and over and over again for weeks and weeks and weeks in my bedroom, like he told me I had to. So I did that, and I, at the time, met an English teacher in high school that played guitar. And he was listening to like Dave Matthews and stuff like that, very acoustic stuff. So I was
Okay.
like, man, he taught me Crash Into Me and all this kind of stuff. Um, and
Do
so
you
I
still
started
keep
playing.
you still keep in touch with that teacher at all?
Yeah, he comes
Yeah.
out to some shows.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
But yeah, I was just learning how to play guitar through him and at home, and I was just getting more and more into it. And then Munner area had a guitar class, and so I started taking guitar class, and I was just guitar all day. And but the whole time that I was in high school, I wanted to go to college, but I couldn't. I knew that I couldn't afford it, so I needed to get a scholarship, and I wasn't like the smartest in class. So I tried to get a football scholarship, and I was able to get a football scholarship, and I went and played college football in Virginia um, for 2 years, and I eventually like hurt my hamstring, and just football wasn't for me. I was falling out of love with it. It wasn't the same as high school for me,
Right. Yeah.
and again, school's not something I'm really good at, you know. So
I feel you on that. I feel you
yeah,
on that. Yeah.
and yeah, so I was starting to write some songs, and I was falling out of love with football, and I was thinking that, you know, since I got hurt, you know, I wasn't gonna be able to do this anymore. And so my mom was like, "We should go to Nashville." I don't even think I was 21 yet. She's like, "We should go to Nashville." I was like, "All right, cool." So she picked me up in Virginia. She drove from Georgia, picked me up in Virginia, drove me to Nashville, and we went to bars. She got me in all the bars. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I guess she like talked me.
Moms have a way
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah. She's like, "He's with me. He's not drinking shit." You
Yeah,
know,
right.
shut up, turn around. So, um, but so this one guy in this bar, he was like, you know, he saw that I was digging his stuff, and my mom was like, she was like, "You should get up there and sing." And I was like, I was really shy. I never played on stage or anything. And so she talked this guy and let me do it. He called me up on stage, and I played like some of the first songs that I wrote.
Right.
And that was the first time that I had gotten on stage really in front of like an actual crowd. And um, it was something that was special.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to give it a shot, you know, and I was like, I'm gonna move back to Georgia, move out, you know, drop out of college and move back to Georgia and start playing music. And I was like, if nothing happens in 6 months, then I'm going to go into the military.
Okay.
Because my parents were always like college or military. That was kind of how it was.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so my parents were like, yeah, that's cool. That's good. You got a plan, you know? She's like, work hard at it. And so I started looking up who was big in Georgia, and Peachtree Entertainment was big. I don't know if you've heard of Peachtree Entertainment.
Yeah, I follow him. I follow
yeah.
you just you alone following you. I have like this whole slew of like, I mean, I follow people that no one has ever heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I follow all that. Like I love it. And look, for me, I grew up like on Two Live Crew and NWA and like,
yeah,
so right outside of Philly. So it was all, you know, I was all hip hop and rap. And
yep.
like my first tape my mom bought me was Bismarcky's Just a Friend tape, right?
Wow.
So it was the old tape. But yeah, man, so I follow a ton of people that follow you, and you know, I'm happy that, you know, I was able to, I don't know how it ended up happening. It was probably through some kind of social media, but
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of what you do.
Appreciate
And
you, man.
all the guys like Tom O'Connor, like that guy.
Mm-hmm.
His music is
great.
his music sounds like it's going to be something big too. And that song "Deserve" he did with Luke is just,
Yep.
it's a clap back at every Taylor Swift song that she's ever made. So
Yep.
but yeah, man. So I apologize.
You're good, man.
That's why I call this the Bumbling Yeti. I just kind of go off on some tangents.
You're good, dude. So yeah, I was like trying to figure out who was big, and Peach Entertainment was big, and they were putting all the big shows, and like John Langston and Jordan Rager and guys like that were playing in town, and they were selling some good tickets at the time, and I was really influenced by those guys to get on stage, and so I started going to all those shows. Any show that I could go to of Peach Entertainment, I was there, and I was shaking Bradley's hand and trying to, influence him to listen to my music somehow, and put me on one of these shows so I could like pick up some fans. That was like my thought. If I really want to do this thing, on the side of all this, I'm playing like 3-hour shows.
Right.
I'll go play a 3-hour show, and then after that, I'll go to that show.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just trying to like involve myself as much as possible, and like also show him that I was working on stuff.
Did those guys kind of take you in easily, or was it like a hard sell for you? Because I'm sure that there's a ton of people
The
out there.
scene's so flooded, man. Yeah, it's kind of hard to stand out. Especially when you're trying to figure yourself out. Because I was so young.
Right.
I haven't been playing music really, and I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just trying to write songs and like figure out my sound and stuff. And that was around the time that I wrote Georgia.
Okay.
And people were like, "Shit, that's your sound."
Yeah, it is, man. It is.
And
it's dude,
they're like,
super unique.
Yeah, and they're like, I don't know what it is, but like you need to do more of that in your stuff. And so that's when I kind of started trying to open my mind up to songwriting.
Right.
And the way that I got in front of Bradley Jordan was my buddy Chase Brown that I wrote Georgia with. He went with me to every one of these shows. And one night we were at a Cole Taylor show at Georgia Theater on a Wednesday night, I think. And I went up to Bradley and I'm like, dude, let me just sing for you. Like, I'm running out of time.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't really told him that I was doing the military thing, but I was running out of time. So I was like, man, let me sing for you. He's like, all right, cool. Come over to my house, like next Wednesday, sing for me. So I was like, all right, cool. So I got my guitar, practiced Georgia and these new songs that I wrote. And I go, and Chase goes with me, and we go to his house, and he's chilling there watching baseball. And I pull out my guitar, and he's like, dude, let me hear it. And so I played Georgia, and he was like, he was smoking cigarettes, and he was like,
right. Yeah.
He's like,
yeah,
cussing
right.
and stuff. He's like,
yeah.
Man, I got to smoke a cigarette. He's like, wow. I'm like, all right, cool. This is going good. And so he's like, all right, let's go outside. He's like, he walks outside. And he's like, all right, I got the show coming up. He's like, I want you to open up. I'm like, man, all right, cool. He's like, this new guy, Luke Combs, he's coming into town. He's doing the show with us at 40Y. And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Nice.
So that was my first show with Luke. And that was the night that, it was crazy how that night worked out. A lot of people got introduced in the same exact night. I got introduced to Luke. Cappy and Luke got introduced together, and it was just a crazy night. And about 2 months later, Luke asked me to open at the Georgia Theater again. And so I went and did that, and he was like, somebody had mentioned that you should go on the road with us, but you should be in Nashville. So without thinking about it, moved to Nashville, broke the shit, and went on the road with Luke as much as possible, which was pretty much every weekend.
Right.
Like Wednesday through Sunday, pretty much.
Dude, that's exactly why I did this, because like, dude, you look so happy right now just looking back and kind of thinking about that stuff. What are you drinking there?
This is a Rolling Rock with a lime in it.
Bro, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I can't even smell Rolling Rock. That's all my dad drank when I was little. And he used to have like cases of it in the basement fridge. And I'd go out with my buddies.
Yeah.
And I just leave my sleeping bag out the basement door, and I put a case of Rolling Rock in it. I can't even, with a lime in it?
Yeah.
Man.
Well, that was one. This one doesn't have one.
Okay. Yeah.
Got my Matt Kenseth.
Yeah.
Motion
Nice,
fuel.
man. Nice. Yeah, that green's hard to, it was either that. I didn't think you would drink a Heineken.
Nah, we got Dos Equis in there though. Yeah.
But
That's
no,
where
man,
the
that's
limes came from.
yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, that's a great story, man. So when you finally get out and you get on stage, like what kind of crowds were they? Like, so you went from like being,
Well,
I
it
guess.
was crazy, man, because at the time Luke was just getting big. Like I think when I first started touring with him, I don't even know if Hurricane was out yet. I don't think it was.
Okay.
And so I think he just had what was it? Let the Moon Shine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was just getting big. He was big on Vine. Vine was big back then.
Right.
And so that's where I knew Luke before I even met him. Was I followed him on Vine.
Okay.
Because I like to sing and stuff. And
so we're like the theater you were talking about. Is it like a big venue or?
So the Georgia Theater. So the first night when we played 40 Watt, I think we sold 80 tickets.
Okay.
So not many people at all.
Right.
Georgia Theater, he might have sold it out that night. No, I'm sorry, it was a co-headline with Frank Foster.
Okay.
So he was co-headline with Frank Foster, and I was opening up. And I don't even know if it sold out, but we started going on the road like all over the Southeast, Louisiana to like Virginia, pretty much.
So what's that like being out on the road? Like, because I mean, for me, when I see you guys play, like you're touring with Cody Johnson, right? But because I follow you on social media, I see the trip coming up on Instagram. I see you and your band guys.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're super nice guys, all of them. Like, like awesome. I was going back and forth with Mitch a little bit. I'm like, I'd like to have you on too, just to understand his journey. And Michael, he's got some great content on on Instagram.
Yeah, man. Mike's cool too, man. Adam Recker,
right? Yeah,
as well.
Yeah. But so what's it like on the road? Because I see you guys pull up in this van.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get merch, but your truck broke down, I think, on the way. The merch truck broke down, right? So what's it like? Like, because from someone like me, I don't understand what it's like. Because, I mean, you guys have to grind to get there. You get there, you put on a show, and you got to grind to leave.
Yeah, man. Well, I learned a lot of what we do today because I was in the van with Luke and them every weekend. And we're on the road, Wednesday through Sunday or Thursday through Sunday. And one or two of those days is just a travel day, and I'm just learning from those guys because they're doing hotels, every night. And it's just a lot of information that you wouldn't think you needed to know to be on the road to just really handle yourself,
right?
And handle the guys that you're on the road with and handle the situation. And there's a lot that goes into it. And I got to watch Luke and Cappy and all these guys like associate, everything they're going through and talk about their problems. And I was just in the back of the van by myself with an acoustic guitar at this time.
Listening up.
Yeah. And they're telling me, they're like, hey, listen up,
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were really supportive in that. And today what we do is just pretty much like those guys do. It's like we try to keep a cool head, all of us, but sometimes we spend like months together, and we, have our issues, but it's part of being in a band,
right?
Even though it's like not necessarily like it was back in the old days where you have a band name and all this kind of stuff. I mean, we're still a band. We still spend more time with each other than any of our family members or girlfriends, pretty much.
Right.
Sometimes during the year. But we, it's tough. We're all hurting for money, we don't make a lot of money doing this.
Right.
That's just, how it is.
It's part of the gig, right?
Yeah. And when nights you don't have merch or something, that hurts you pretty bad.
Yeah.
And we try to do the best we can. Everybody's like, what's the cheapest we can eat,
Yeah.
We all we share a hotel room together. We share one room.
Yeah. again, anyone who's listening, like you go follow Jobe. It's at Jobe Fortner on Instagram, and I'll get all the links and stuff in for the on the video here, and even when I put this out. But I see you guys, like, I guess I see like the fun part, but like to your point, like you're driving and you could be pulling a trailer, and then who knows, you get a flat or the van overheats, or and you have like tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment that you're pulling down the road. Like the equipment's probably worth more than like double what the vehicle is.
Yeah. And we stress about that all the time too, just making sure we take everything in every night and stuff.
Right. So when you go and stay in a hotel, you bring all your gear in?
For the most part.
That's crazy. I didn't even think of that. That makes a lot of sense though.
It's just it's a lot being on the road, man. I mean, it's not for everybody, because it's really tough to balance, like having a good time and not overdoing it, and knowing yourself, and not letting alcohol or anything else get in your way.
You got to perform, right?
You got to perform. Like we don't drink and play,
right?
Usually,
right.
Like if anything, we might make a drink and go on stage, but we usually are a no drink before we play.
And
we have
because
after.
it's your livelihood, right? So you don't know who's going to be at the show. You don't want to be all sloppy and out of control. And then when you did your last show, as a matter of fact, I guess it was 2 days ago, because my daughter was here, and it was like a year to the day when you were up here in Philly, and then you went from Philly to New York. So it's been
it's a lot, man, but I love it. That's what when I was getting into music and I was watching guys and watching these artists play, like John Mayer and stuff like that, seeing them tour and seeing that life that they were living, I was like, man, I really just want to like live on a bus,
right?
And have like a suitcase of clothes, and that's it, and just live on a bus and play music.
I kind of live like that in my house, like all my stuff fits in my truck, really. But
that's how I am, man. I live out of a suitcase pretty much. I mean,
that's great, man. And so when you go out on stage, right? So I think it definitely, I don't know what you can hear. I'm sure you have ear stuff in when you're on stage, right?
No, we run monitors.
Oh, do you?
I can hear the crowd.
So I took my 14-year-old, and I'll throw a picture up here when I edit all down. She was so excited. She's like, you know him? I was like, well, I follow him on social media. I said, but he's a really personable guy. And she's like, well, do you think I'll get to meet him? I was like, yeah. I was like, in between, when he comes off, he comes out and we'll talk to people. And again, that meant a lot that means a lot to me. Like I'm not like a fan, but I'm just a fan of your music, and you're just a good dude. And
Thanks,
what you bring to the table. I think a lot of people, if they would sit back and think about it, like I take my oldest daughter, 16, to like hip hop shows. You can't get near anyone there. And then the other thing is, I've noticed that you country guys, you go on time.
We do.
Like you recognize, like, hey, these people were here to see me.
It means a lot to the crew as well, because they're on a tight schedule usually.
So. But so as she and I were there, and we're watching you, she ends up going, because it was just general admission, and the TLA in Philly is a really small place. Like I was actually surprised that you and Cody Johnson were there, because it holds like 1,200 people, maybe.
I know. I mean, Cody is like, he sold it out, right? I think it was sold out.
You couldn't. I was one of the first people. I think it sold out in like 15 minutes. It was crazy.
I mean, he could have easily played something bigger, I think.
So she goes up to the front, and I had said to you, I was like, yo, my daughter and I are coming. And you're like, yo, make sure you sing loud. Well, I did. And look, I was the only one there with a Jobe Fortner shirt on. And I was singing, and my daughter turns around and looks at me, and she's like, I was like, what? She's like, you're so loud. She's like, I can't even hear him playing. I was like, oh, well, look, I'm 40. I don't really care about a whole lot anymore,
Great.
Yeah, man. So, but so the first time I came to see you again was, you were with Cody Johnson, but you were down in Wilmington. in Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
I was, kind of close to Philly, but you actually took about 20 minutes or so and were talking to me about some things, and I think that was right around wasn't I guess it wasn't long after when your mom passed away,
Yeah.
and you were
Yeah.
telling me about her.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that resonated with me is that you said you would do anything to get in a car and put the windows down and just go for a drive and
Yeah.
just sing and all that other stuff. So that actually never left me. And I guess it was late last year. So my mom's actually turning 70 this year.
Wow.
And she talked about Graceland my entire life.
Yeah.
Always, she's Elvis always playing. It was either Frank Sinatra or Elvis playing in my house, right?
Yeah.
So I actually took her to Graceland,
Mm-hmm.
and it was because
Wow.
because of what you had
Yeah.
said to me, like
Yeah,
you
you told
gotta,
me about this.
yeah, man, you gotta
Man, that's
take,
that's awesome that you did that, man. I mean,
yeah,
I try and like capture those moments still every day.
right,
Like, I don't like the fact that I'm like 25 influence like what I should be doing in life. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like some people, you know, don't take the breath to like sit there and enjoy a moment or like really take in what's happening, in
right,
life. And I try to do that the best I can.
yeah, yeah, and she and we actually flew into Nashville and rented a car, and we went to Graceland, which is obviously, you understand, it's 3 hours away.
Yeah.
And then we came back in the same day,
Wow.
stayed in Nashville. Then we went down, did the main strip there in
Uh,
Nashville, and actually saw Amber De La Cruz. Are you familiar with her?
I've heard the name.
So she was playing down at Luke's 32 Bridge, and my
Mm.
mom and I went down there. It was just after breakfast, and my mom's like, "You got to have a couple drinks." So we had like
Yeah.
breakfast or something like that, and
Brunch.
uh, yeah, I think I had a hot chicken sandwich. I was dying for it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so we went down there. We saw her playing, and then she was playing. I forget the guy's name, but he wrote one of Cole Swindell's songs. I don't know what it was, but like you just see the community is so
Yeah.
tight. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. It's
you
a
know,
small world, man.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah, for
really is.
sure.
It's like
For
high
sure.
school. You've seen everybody pretty much, but you don't maybe know their name.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and again, when you guys came out, when I saw you in Wilmington, um, I remember, and I'm thinking, I'm like, there's like no one here, and you're up there just playing like there's like 100,000 people out front of you. I'm like, man, this guy really gets it.
Yeah.
And then
Wilmington was
Cody
great.
Johnson came out, and the place went crazy. But then when I saw you in Philly last year, it was, I mean, that place was packed. Everyone's singing along and carrying on, and
Yeah.
it
It
was
was a
just
good
cool to
time.
see, man.
The
I
crowds are
guess in that
different, man.
year,
The crowds are different. It's weird. Like we try our best every night to please the crowd and to also like please our satisfaction of playing music because that's what it's about. We want
right,
to play good music for people, the best music that we got and the best show that we can put on every single night. And guys like Whiskey Myers and Luke Combs and Cody Johnson influence us to do that because they do the same.
right,
Like they play every show like it's their last because that's the way to do it. Because why not? And like that's what life's about. And man, we don't even play the same set every night. We change it up. We try and sometimes we miss it. And
yeah,
sometimes we think a crowd's gonna dig a certain set that we made up, and we're like all pumped about it. And they're like, it's just the way it goes, man.
yeah,
And it's all learning. We got to be on the road. We've been a band now for like 2 years. We've been
okay,
touring for 2 years pretty much, and there's guys out there that have been touring together for like 10, 15 years, 20
right,
years.
yeah,
So it just takes time, and that's the type of music we play. It's a show. We don't have any tracks. We're two guitars, bass, and drums. Very straightforward. Pretty much, Southern rock is I am.
yeah. Well,
Try to be
the
myself.
one thing
So
I can say for anyone, and I'll tell you this from someone who comes and watches you every opportunity I get, you and your band sound exactly the same live as you do on the EP. Like it's
thanks,
legit
man.
the same. I mean, I mean, you might variate, I guess, throw a couple variations in here and there, but I mean, that's one thing that I like. Yeah, one thing that I like, because if I go and I hear someone like doing something completely different, I'm like, I don't. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know. So it's interesting how, again, going, because your show was the first show I went to in a small theater, and I never really went to concerts growing up. I'm like, I don't really like when people are like touching me and stuff like that. I'm just weird.
Yeah.
But it was, it's a lot of fun. And actually, I've seen a lot of like younger kids at your shows too, and they, you guys, the country artists that I've seen have always been so accommodating to the fans and the people that come out and support them, which is completely different, again, than anything that that I've seen when I take my daughter to other concerts and stuff. So you guys definitely do it right.
I think we're about to do something pretty cool too, man. We're gonna bring Southern rock back. So
yeah, and
this new music that we're recording right now, man. I mean,
so
I just recorded 5 new songs with Gary Stanton.
Okay.
And Ryan, it's his buddy Ryan, and we all co-produced the thing, and it's gonna be.
So when's all that supposed to be coming out?
Well,
I know everything's probably pushed back.
It's pretty much done. We're still working on some things, but it's pretty close. And right now there's no guarantee for when we're going to play shows again.
Right.
And I would like to put it out where people are in their cars, driving around, having a good time, doing things. When the world gets back moving, hopefully sometime soon, I hope that, we can play some shows following the, putting the music out. So I think I'm going to wait and see what happens, in the following months. But we're definitely working on it, and it sounds I've never been happier with anything I've ever recorded. So
is some of that the music that you've put out on your YouTube channel, like the church sessions and stuff like that?
Yep. I haven't released the names of the 5 songs yet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but there are definitely some songs on there that I've written in the last couple of years. So
okay.
I wanted something that was where I am right now.
Okay.
And songs like That's My Men, that's on there.
Oh yeah, that song's amazing, man.
That's where I'm at in life. That's what I think. That's what I feel. Everything that's going to be on this EP is exactly how I feel.
Okay.
And where I'm at in life. And
I can't wait.
It's such a good representation of what's going on live. On the record, we didn't use anything more than 2 guitars, bass, and drums. Same thing we do live. So
nice.
It's going to sound very live.
So you guys can play in a parking lot, or you can play in a big stadium.
Hopefully.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll play anywhere.
Yeah, right. I got it.
Always people want to come.
Yeah, trust me. They will be. If whoever hasn't come,
I don't care if it's one, we'll be there.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll be there. You come up to this area, it'll be me and my kids. We'll at the very least. But so as far as that goes, is there like a major undertaking, a major process that you have to take in order to get like airplay? Because your music, in my opinion, is ready for airplay. But I don't know. I understand a little bit. I have a really good friend of mine that I grew up with. He's a music producer. He's done a lot of hip hop stuff, but there's music out there that people have no idea is out there that's ready for airplay that will just blow people's minds.
Yeah. I think a big part of it that everyone knows is having a record deal.
Right.
Definitely helps you. And that's something I don't have. It's not necessarily something that I'm like striving for, but I'm looking around.
Okay.
And it's something that I don't know a lot about, and I'm trying to figure out.
Okay. So you're trying to go like the Master P way and just sell it out of the trunk of your car?
Yep.
Hey, it worked for him, man. He's rich too.
Like, I'm just trying to record what I want to record, tour the way that I want to tour, work with the people that I want to work with, and chase the dream that I want to chase. And it can be tough sometimes in Nashville. You know, there are people that believe that there's a formula, and I've been so much around the formula, you know, a lot. And I've also experienced bands that are not following the formula.
Right.
And I've also experienced a lot of things in life that changed me as a person and that made me a better person in my eyes, I think.
Right.
And, you know, the way that I am now is I want to record the music that I love, you know, and I just want to put it out for people.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care if it's considered country or southern rock or rock and roll or
Yeah, it's just good music,
pop
man.
or,
It
you
doesn't
know,
have to be
and
classified.
yeah, and you know, I don't know a lot about radio, but I know that there's a lot of politics involved.
Yeah.
And not to say that radio's for me one day, but I don't think we'll have anything on the radio anytime soon. But if it did happen, it would be the greatest thing. You know,
Yeah.
I just want it to be natural. I want it to I want it to be on the radio because there are people that want it to be on the radio,
Yep.
whether that's like industry people or, you know, I want it to be real.
Right.
Everybody that I work with, that's what I tell them. You know, I want to be
Uh,
real. And
well, you can't keep it any more real than that, right?
yeah,
So that's amazing, man. I'm so excited for you guys. Like I'm excited to hear the new music. And it's funny because like all day today, I'm like, I wanted to post something like, dude, I got this big, like, I'm
oh yeah,
again, I
I
really
appreciate your
appreciate
support,
music.
man.
And, you know, I didn't listen to country, dude, until probably like Zach Brown was like the first country, if you even want to call that country, right? So,
Yeah,
but that was like the first concert I ever went to. And then I
yeah.
went to Luke Bryan and I went to, you know, like coming to see you and like Cody Johnson blew my mind. Those guys like shoot themselves out of a cannon when they come on the
Oh
stage.
yeah,
Like,
it's insane.
and then, you know,
The
seeing him and
experience and
he's
the talent on that crew is
right.
just
Yeah. And it, you know,
amazing. The
he
best.
was what? He was a bull rider, right? He was
I
like a
bet
rodeo
I
guy.
bet he's rode a couple bulls. I don't know exactly what he's done, but he's wears some nice belt buckles.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But he seems like a real humble guy. He was, you know, he was
Yeah,
real appreciative and yeah, I think that kind of fits um right in with what people are looking for, right? So and the fact that you're out there with like Dwight Yoakam's like a huge name, right? So
yeah,
you're out there doing, you know,
man, yeah.
pretty significant
That crew's
crowds
awesome. Yeah,
and
we have a great time with the Dwight Yoakam shows. It took us a long time to figure out the Dwight Yoakam crowds because they're all seated.
right.
And that's such a huge challenge for us because we're like we were on the road with like Whiskey Myers and stuff, and that was like when we first started like really trying to focus on the show and like what we were doing and what the music was about. And we were like rocking, 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 like, you know, just
And we're just sitting there looking up at you.
yeah, and it's like and we it wasn't a lot of talking and stuff because that was just like what we were influenced by at the time. And you know, you got to eventually learn to do you and do the show that is you. And when we were doing Dwight Yoakam shows, I learned that I needed to talk more and like explain more, and
Yeah.
people wanted to hear that. And that was a show that I've never really done before, and it took us a couple months to get that, but we started really having a blast on the road and like really being able to connect with different types of fans because you have different types of fans at Cody Johnson shows and at
Right.
Whiskey Myers shows and at Dwight Yoakam shows, you know. And when you're playing festivals in front of like Kane Brown and guys like this, you know, you have different crowds. You have to learn, you know, how to get your message across to people.
So
So,
speaking of festivals, I've seen some of the I guess some of the social media posts and whatnot. Like what is it like for you when you look out in the crowd and see these people just like singing right back to you with the lyrics that you wrote and you're singing and like for me like if I could do anything I would
mhm.
be a hip hop guy that would like get like House of Pain kind of, you know, get people jumping and then like, you know, like
Yep,
Drake, you know, like I would love to be able to sing a song or put a message out where people like would sing. Like Kenny Chesney's real big
yep.
with that, right? So what's it like for you when you look out in the crowd and you see people just like singing your lyrics?
It's like the craziest thing ever. Like when we go home and play in like 40 watt in Athens stuff, oh man, it's breathtaking for me. And at some of my lowest points, like the night my mom passed away, we played a show at 40 Watt that night. I didn't cancel it, and I mean, I broke down that night. And there's just been times where, I've been to shows where there's an energy in the room, shows like Chris Stapleton shows and Cadillac Three shows, where it's like an energy that no one's talking maybe, or someone is talking, and it's just, it moves you.
Right.
Like, you're just like totally invested in whatever's in that room.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like I always wanted to have that atmosphere on stage, and I feel that with people, like especially when I'm singing. Some nights, there's 10 people singing. Some nights there's 4 people singing. Some nights we don't think there's anyone that gave a total crap about what we played.
Right.
And we think they hated the whole show, and we're all bummed out about it. And then we go out in the crowd and there's like 80 people that like are like, man, that is the greatest thing I've seen, and like it makes it all worth it, man. Like,
right.
Even to hear one story of one person that drove out to see us makes everything worth it.
Well, so the shows I've been at, I come out and hang out, and I like to talk to. I'm super interested in what other people are doing. Right. I'm just really interested. So how many drinks? Like, I was standing there talking to you, and this at least 7 people are like, yo, let me get you a drink. Like, I don't know who you are. Your music's killer. I'm a fan now. What can I get you to drink? And you're just like, yeah, this. And then like next thing you know, there's like, 15 people trying to buy you drinks. And the other thing is that I want to explain is that once you guys are done, you go out and stand there and watch, like in the instances what I saw you with Cody Johnson, you guys were fanning out and having a good time with Cody Johnson, right? So you're out there singing the lyrics, you guys are carrying on. I mean, that's really what it should be all about, right? So music is bringing people together, and it, you're looking at him the same way that, someone else is going to look at you guys.
Yeah. I mean, like, man, it's so cool to be involved with an artist like Cody Johnson, who really thinks about all the aspects of being just a good person. Like, he acknowledges us there.
Mm-hmm.
He acknowledges that people have a hard time doing some things. And it's not like we need Cody Johnson to be like, oh man, I know you guys are going through a hard time, but it's cool when you see the, you get to hang out with the headlining act, and he's like, hey man, how was y'all's drive today? Or whatever. And then when he comes out and watches our set, that's crazy to me. Like, to have somebody, he doesn't have to do that.
Right.
He's got a lot of other things that he's got going on, but he takes time out of what he's got going on, his left meet and greets, and watch our show.
Yeah.
And that means the world to me and the guys in the band, and, we're like, when I first started with Cody Johnson, I didn't know hardly anything about Texas country, and wasn't really familiar with Cody, even up to the point that we played our first show with him. We were just listening to his music for the first time, and probably the same for him as well. And we just both became fans of each other, and then we became friends. And
that's great.
I mean, I consider him a good friend.
So how does that all work to get on a tour like this? Does, like, I don't know. So I'm like, say I'm friends with like a Cody Johnson. I'm like, yo, man, I was like, I saw this dude, Jobe Fortner. You got to get him. Is that how it works? Is like word of mouth, or is it all like that politic behind the wall, or I guess behind the door kind of stuff?
That's a mixture of having good relationships and
obviously playing good music.
I build a relationship with my booking agent, Justin Cahill at CA, and Justin's helped me so much, to get to know some of these guys and to help me get on these shows. And once we play a show, it's like they don't have to invite us back after, and it doesn't always happen where we click with a band that we open up for,
right?
And sometimes we get to hang out and everybody clicks, and that's just how it continues in my mind, is that you have a good relationship with these guys,
right?
I hope that politics doesn't get in the way. I hope that people continue to be good, and If we have good relationships, we can continue to tour together. And
Yeah,
if
I
it
mean,
makes sense, and business wise, I mean, there are a lot of things that make sense business wise too. So,
right.
I don't expect to get every Cody Johnson show and every Whiskey Myers show and all this stuff. I don't expect anything. So I just want to do,
But you guys are willing to put the work in, which I
yeah,
guess that
yeah. We're willing to drive all the way across country for nothing, man.
right.
Play some shows.
So you were talking also about like the festivals and stuff, right? So what's the biggest crowd you've played to? And when you walked out, like what was going through your mind? Because I've been to some shows and you see them walk out and I don't believe that they're putting on, because I turn around and look and I'm like, Jesus, like there are a lot of people there.
Yeah. Dude, Rome River Jam. That with Luke last year. Oh man. I got to play Rome River Jam 3 times. I don't know if anyone's been able to play Rome River Jam 3 times, but I got some big supporters in Georgia that believe in me, and
Yeah.
they put me on that festival 3 times in a row.
Right.
And the third time, I worked my way up every year. I was like 4th, 3rd, and then I was 2nd right before the headliner. Like,
Wow.
I went right before Luke, man. It was like the biggest opportunity. I'm like, this will be a show that I'll never forget. This is the biggest opportunity in my life, up to this point. And it was 15,000 people, I think.
Wow.
When we went on stage, and the most people I've ever seen.
Right.
And on stage, and man, it was my vibe going on stage. A lot of times is like anger. I don't know why, but it's my football side of me.
Okay, I get it.
It's like punch somebody in the mouth anger.
Yeah, I get it.
I feel like I got a message and a point to prove.
Yeah.
Every time that I walk
Yeah,
out.
you got that chip on your shoulder. You got to have something, right? Something has to drive you.
Yeah, and when I walk out there, it's like, I don't know. It's the craziest feeling ever, man. It's my space.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow. So it's the biggest euphoric feeling ever for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So as you continue to move forward with the band and the new music and all that stuff, and I guess as your set list starts to grow, are you guys looking? I get right now it's probably really hard to answer that right now, right? Because the whole entire world shut down and it's starting to come out now, whatever. Yeah. From your perspective, what path do you think you guys will start taking now? Are you trying to network up and just continue to network up to, like, I guess, what would be a show if you could do a show right now? Who would you open for?
I just want to continue to tour with like guys that I like to tour with, and that's Cody Johnson and Whiskey Myers.
Okay.
I would love to tour with those guys. I've had the best times with their crowds. I've connected with them. If I can continue those relationships and those guys can get on the road again, and I'm able to go on the road with them, that would be a big dream of mine and my team. But right now we're, you know, um, I left a management company that I was with, and I'm seeking new management now.
Okay.
And I'm working with my publishing team and stuff like that, and we're really just working on getting this music together and also finding management that fits me and like what I'm trying to do.
Okay. Cool.
And just really working behind the scenes that when everything comes out, we're ready to go.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's hard to tell,
Yeah.
when everything
Yeah.
comes up.
So
That's what
guess
we're trying to prepare for, is just really everything that we can control.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right.
So
I guess right now, are you guys, and it kind of seems like most people are just trying to write as much as they can to take advantage of not being out on the road and all that. So is that kind of where your head's at now too? You seem like you're just itching to get out, man. Like, I mean, everyone is, but
I haven't been writing a ton, honestly.
Yeah.
I've been really, because I'm on this new music right now, and I'm really trying to focus in on these mixes and like really pinpointing the sound that I want and what we're trying to go for. So I'm not trying to write a ton and have all these new things going on in my head, because I feel like, you know, being in the studio and this music that we're putting out is very important to me. So I want
Right.
to make sure that that's right. So I write, but, you know, it's, you know, once or twice a week,
Okay.
you know,
Nice.
and I'm really just filling up my idea book the best I can, you
All
know.
right.
And a lot of people that are writing right now are doing these Zoom writes,
Yeah.
you know, and that's I like to be in person. I think
Yeah,
writing
I
a
know.
song, you know, I think to be creative and like to be in person, it says a lot more than just a Zoom write, you know.
Right.
Not that not that I can't do it, or, you know, that I don't do it. It's
Well,
just
you're not picking
I
up on no
can't
one's
wait.
vibe.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
It's
Look, I go through
fun.
that with work every day. Like you get
Yeah,
on a Zoom call and you can tell, you see people, they don't realize they're on there and just kind of like you're looking around. You're like, are you even listening? Like,
yeah.
what are we trying to do here? So,
And a big thing at a write is you play together, or that you
yeah,
sing together, and you
yeah,
can't do that really at the same time
right,
too. And that's kind of a thing for me. It's
yeah,
weird,
cool, man.
but yeah. I'm just trying to get ready for what's coming out. I mean, you know, we have some really big ideas and a lot of things to get done with this new music. So we're talking about music videos and different things
Nice,
like that. So
awesome, awesome.
yeah,
Well, look, man, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I really appreciate it. When you get this new stuff coming out, we'll have to get you back on here
yeah,
and you know, maybe when all this stuff breaks loose, we'll you know, if you're when you come back up this way, maybe we'll just do a one-on-one kind of live thing and
sounds good.
do it that way. But Job, I really appreciate your time, man. I
Thanks, man.
think your
Appreciate
music's
you.
amazing. I think you and your band are great. Obviously other people seeing you, what your fan base sees in you, and you know, these bigger acts like Cody Johnson, you know, and these guys like to bring you on tour with them, and I think that's amazing. You're living the dream. You're exactly the kind of person I like to talk to. I'm big on trying to figure out how people, you know, their journey and where it took today. And again, you know, from my perspective, I wanted to thank you for sharing that story about you and your mom,
Yeah.
because it made me take some action and take my mom on a trip. And oddly enough, my mom, she threw a quarter into the. You've been to Graceland?
Yep.
Okay, so up at the pool, first of all, I told her I was going to dive in the pool, and she told me I wasn't allowed to. But she threw a coin into the water fountain,
Yeah.
and she looked at me and she said, "This is the best day of my life." And that's all it took. And of course, I
Wow.
texted my sister and told her, I was like, "Dude, you can't ever one up me on this."
Yeah. That's
But
incredible. That's what it's all about. Like that's what I hope that I can help people do.
yeah, man,
It's
yeah,
like
your music tells stories, and the your latest one that was it dub uh double wide
double
uh
wide dues.
double wide dudes. Yeah, I listened to that. I actually read the story, and I can't talk about it too much now because, you know, my eyes start to sweat on shit like that,
Yeah.
like for real. But
I
um,
appreciate it.
again, dude, your story's amazing. I think your music's great. You know, when I go out and I listen to it, I throw it on in the boat when I'm out in it, and I actually listened to it today. I got it on, you know, all my playlists and stuff, and just know you
Oh,
got some supporters up here in the Philly area, and
yeah, man.
you know, when you get back up here, you know, maybe when you have a little bit of time, I'll take you get some food, or, you know, never
Yeah.
know, man. We'll
And
get
I've
that worked out.
eaten I can say about Philly and the Jersey area, LBI area, I've eaten some of the best sandwiches and pizza in my
Right.
entire life. Like White House.
Right.
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Well,
goodness.
so
I'm a
your
fan, dude.
buddy Rob Snyder, right?
Bob Snyder, yeah, man. He's from
So
PA.
I shared that on I think on my Facebook, because like it just resonates with everyone here, like driving, getting stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
And his cousin is married to one of my best friends growing up.
Oh wow.
So he's like, oh, he said, that's my wife's cousin, which, you know, you never realize, but, you know,
Yeah.
again, just the people that are putting out good music, I think, you know, there's a lot of you guys out there, but you don't really get to hear, because it's not what a lot of people call mainstream.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, there's so much stuff coming up, but like honestly, you know, I think there's a big change coming. You know, I don't necessarily know what it is. No one does, but I
I feel
think
it.
there are a lot of people that are coming up. You know, when those guys like Luke and Riley and Muscadine and all these guys are mains on the radio, that's gonna That's gonna be a big thing one day. I
Yeah,
hope.
for
And
sure.
I see that. I believe in that. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it'll be great.
Good deal, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I really appreciate it. And again, I'd love to have you back on here, and
Yeah.
maybe even in person would be pretty cool. But
Hey, man.
you know, if you have anyone else you think that might be interested in sharing their story, just let me
Absolutely.
know, and I'd love to have them on. And
Yeah, man.
again, man, stay well,
It's over.
stay healthy, and
Yeah.
again, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you.
And
Appreciate
hey,
it. Thanks for
everyone,
your
this is
support.
man. This is John at the Bumbling Yeti. This is Jobe Fortner. I'm actually wearing his merch.
Yeah.
I'll get all of his information out, all his social media. It's all at Jobe Fortner,
Yep.
right? And
At
then
Jobe Fortner.
at Jobe Fortner Music, right?
JobeFortnerMusic.com.
.com. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
go on there. You can listen to all his music. You can see his videos, and you see his church sessions are amazing. They just sound so good.
Thanks, man.
But yeah, man, again, I appreciate it. And the best of luck to you. Stay healthy. And
Yeah, you as well, man.
when this thing breaks loose, I can't wait to see you performing
Yeah.
live again.
Hey, man. I can't wait to get back out and meet you
All
guys.
right, buddy.
So, we'll see you, man.
All right, dude. Take it easy. Thank you.
All right, bud.
All right, see you.